And we're live. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, to our first ever podcast. This evening, we have a special guest, very dear to my heart. I'm grateful to be able to acknowledge and give this man his flowers while he's still alive. I will forever be grateful for the role he has played in my life. I think it will forever change the trajectory of my life going forward. I'm here with my host, Keenan Stein. While we wait for our esteemed guest to join us, I'm honored to be the person to get to share his story on a live platform for the first time, I think, that I can recall. Um, I'm not exactly sure where he is. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Reese Daniels from Eldorado Park. And yeah, born into cricket pretty much and played development cricket all my life pretty much. Um, and yeah, after school, 2013, I started my coaching and I never looked back since. While we wait for Don Keenan, would you like to introduce yourself to the audience?
Good evening, everyone. Some of you would know me, some of you might not know me. My name is Keenan Stein. Um, I am one of the coaches by Monument High School. With our guest that just joined us now. Welcome, Mr. Donavan. Can you
Thank you.
just introduce yourself?
So hello everyone. I just want to say it's an honor for you guys to have me on your first episode one. So I know you guys are quite nervous and excited about it. But yeah,
Absolutely.
so yeah, obviously I'm Donavan Kroet. I think most of you guys that's obviously on the show now and following it know me by the name of Donny, of Coach Don or Don. Yeah, I'm a dad first, and then I'm a cricket coach, and then yeah, so that's basically me. I'll obviously share a lot more now uh, about what I really do, in my day-to-day life, and it's not just cricket, but a lot more than cricket. But yeah, I'm a big family man, um, and yeah, the questions can come and stuff. You guys will obviously ask all the questions. I hope it's not
Awesome.
too difficult, Reese. And then yeah, you guys can kick it off.
No, never. Don, we're gonna get straight into things. I want to know where or what your earliest memory of you being introduced to sport is. Can you recall?
Yeah, so my life is basically sport. I grew up with my grandfather. So he played for Transvaal Cricket. He was the captain as well. Back in many years ago. My dad is massive in sport as well. He was a boxer. He played soccer. So my brother and I, we 3 years apart, so that made it so much easier. So when we watch TV, if you turn on the TV, it's sports. If you go out in the streets, we from Toekomsrus, there's either someone kicking a ball, throwing a ball. So my whole childhood lifestyle, livelihood, everything of that was just based around sport.
Okay, that's awesome. Do you do you remember, like, in terms of your career as a coach, where would you say it all began? Like, not the life-changing moment, but like that first introduction into who introduced you to coaching.
Sure, it's actually a very interesting story, to be honest. So I was quite decent at all sports. I loved athletics. I was a decent soccer player. Obviously, my life was cricket, like I said, from a very young age. Um, and one night I went to church with my brother and my sister-in-law, and I always knew I wanted to get into sports. And we went to church, and it was just, I think it's just a calling, to be honest. Um, because that day my brother said, "Listen, give me your CV. I'm going to get you a job." Because I was
Yeah.
18 years old. I finished school when I was 17. Um, and without any planning or anything, I just said, "No, I want to study sports psychology." And after, registering, getting all the pros and cons with UNISA, I they accepted me to do sports psychology, and I had to do a practical, not knowing that I want to be a coach. To be honest, I knew I want to be somewhere in sports, uh, but the plan was never to be a coach. And I had to do a practical, and I went to my old primary school in Tukamsres Primary. And I went to the principal, and she said, "No, I must go to Sean Bloemikis. He's in charge of the cricket," because they obviously knew me as a cricketer. And my first 10 minutes, just seeing those boys work and, the passion that they had for the game, I knew exactly what I wanted to do for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I asked him, "Listen, can I start helping you?" And he said, "With pleasure." And that's 17 and a half years ago. And it literally took me, that 10 minutes changed my whole life. Just watching the boys there in Tukamsres Primary in the cricket net. And that changed my whole life.
Yeah, I think the three of us here will have a very, very similar story. It's super weird. But what I like about this is, you know, the thought of being able to tell our story, it being similar yet different in many ways. I think, for people in future, they can then reference this video. The internet, it will always be there,
Yeah.
unless I decide to take it down, of course, which we won't. Um, Keenan, do you have any comments
Um,
around that?
so I saw one of the parents ask, "What makes you help the youngsters? What drives you to help our youngsters to become a
So,
coach?"
so yeah, that was obviously one of my stuff that I wanted to talk about it later on. But that's basically me. So I grew up in a community where we didn't have a lot of facilities. Um,
Yes,
we didn't have the best, we weren't exposed to everything that the boys have in today's life. I know it's 30 years later, 32 years later. But for me was, as a 6, 7 year old boy going to Bosman Football Association. We had cricket at Kagiso Cricket Stadium. I can go on and on and on. We never had that support. We never had
yes,
someone that looked after you to say, "Listen, this is what's going to happen. This is what we can give you. We can give you equipment, the facilities and stuff like that." We never had that. And for me, that's a go-getter. And coming from a family where we we want to give back,
yes,
we want to see the next person happy. That was my biggest drive to say, I have the talent, I have the knowledge of the sport. I've been at provincial cricket weeks and national cricket weeks. I've been at national athletics meets where I ran and stuff. I was, I think, 6 months at the Kaiser Chiefs soccer academy in Necharina. So I've been there, but I've never had that support from someone to say, "Listen, you have this talent, let's focus on it." And my passion is to drive boys and girls, to say, "Listen, sports can change your life, because sports is a lot bigger than just kicking a ball and throwing a ball. The most important thing for me is to give every single child the best platform to express their talents, and it makes me happy to see them grow. You can only play sports for so long, but the
yes,
life lessons that you get from it, you change families. You change families' lives because of that one choice of one um, sacrifice that you made as a sportsman. You change the whole family, and it changes years and years of stuff that you learned that you can introduce your family to.
Yes. I think that conversation segues nicely into kind of why we're here. I started this because I always wanted to tell my story as well. But I thought, who better to initiate that? And
Yeah,
so you speak about changing families' lives. I just wanna, go back to, you know, 7 years ago now, this year, where, I remember not having a job. Hopefully Elias Marumo Ndlovu is watching.
you better be.
Um, uh, I remember we played a tournament at Wits in, let's say, February 7 years ago. And being jobless, I spoke to him. I was like, Bubbles, could you, try and help me find a job somewhere? And I think September that year was the first time he got back to me. And obviously, you know the story from where you know it, but just to go, I think a few days before you and I had first spoken, I remember I needed to, I heard back from Bubbles, and I needed to then find means and ways to then get to an interview. Um, and then, what happened was that weekend, I had to go and sell the PlayStation 4 I had
I remember that
to
story. Yeah.
to try and find a way, right? And then guess what happened? I got conned. So they sent me uh, at the time, I was so used to e-wallets. So they sent me a fake e-wallet. So now the PlayStation's gone, and I don't have money to come back home. I'm in the Joburg CBD at the time. So I remember I had a phone my mom had bought me. And so knowing me being from where I'm from, being from the streets, so to speak, I knew how to sell my phone just to get home. So now I get home and I'm like, are my parents going to even believe me? I kept my SIM card. That's the only thing that I could keep, and the Monday when I put my SIM card into what they call a Tamagotchi. For those of you who know, And the
The
first
hardest
message,
game.
yeah, the first message was a missed call from Bubbles' number, and I remembered Bubbles' number, and I knew that you guys were trying to get hold of me, and then if you remember correctly, it was a Wednesday when you came to meet me,
Yeah,
and
very clear.
you
Remember
came
that yesterday.
like yesterday, right? You came
Yeah.
all the way from Santon, your work life, whatever, you said, listen, I'm going to meet you at 5 o'clock. And at 5 o'clock, you came to my house to meet me. And that's pretty much my story. I just wanted to get that out there because that for me is so significant. It's God sent. And that's why I wanted you to tell your story. So I just want to know, before we continue, what went through your head? What made you feel like I have to go and meet this guy?
Very simple. I do what I do on a daily basis to make a change and make a difference. And when Bubbles, I came to Bubbles and I said, listen, we're short of staff. We need a younger coach because of the younger age group, someone energetic that will change certain stuff in our coaching stuff. And he said he is the right person. He knows of somebody. He said, Reese Daniels. I said, listen, I know the name, but I can't put a face to it. Can I trust you? And obviously, everybody, knows Bubbles and I, our relationship are It's a very special. It's a very
Yeah.
special relationship that we. So I said, listen, I'm taking your word. When you said the guy lives in Elders, I'm like, yes, but now you're taking me far. You know, we in a private school in Sandton, you know,
Yes.
and we called you, we couldn't get a hold of you. So now I'm worried already. You know, can we
Yes.
count on this guy? You know, because for me, commitment and dedication, discipline is important. So for
Yeah.
me, that raised the question mark already. You know, and Bible said, listen, just trust me. I said 100%. When I made a phone call and I finally got hold of you, and you said, listen, I'm going to be honest with you. I can't get to radio for an interview with you because I don't have the funds. That changed my whole mindset of who you are as a person. All those questions that I asked was completely gone, and I said, told Bubbles, listen, 5 o'clock, you and I will be there. You know, we took the drive to Elders. I think it was my first, second time there, alone during the week with the polo. You know, it was quite, it was, it was challenging, but
Yes.
there was a purpose behind it. You know, and if I look at 7 years later where you are, you know, and this is why I do what I do.
Yes.
You know, um, it's not I won't call it a sacrifice. It's for me. It's important to change your life for someone that's honest with you. And I come from a home where the first thing they tell you is live by the truth. You know, my aunt will remind me and remind me and remind me and to say, listen, just live by the truth and the rest will follow. You know, and you were honest with me to say, listen, I can't come to the interview. I don't have money for it. You know, and 7 years later, you have an apartment in Morningside, you own your own car, and you still work for the same company. And that shows me, you know, if you live by the truth, things will happen for you and doors will open for you. Simple as that. You know, and it
Absolutely.
can happen to so many other South Africans and boys around the world, not just South Africa. You know,
Yeah.
if you live by the truth.
Absolutely. Keenan, would you like to read the comment there for us, please?
So we have a comment from Cliff Marshall. Donny, you're a great coach. You motivate every player under that plays under you. He bears the love for the game. Develop positive attitude and mental strength. That's kind of deep. And Don, I have a question for you.
Thank you, Cliff. I appreciate it.
I have a question for you. And this comes from remember the back in the days at primary school where you used to coach me, and I don't think you recall that. And then every time when I used to see you in the street, and then I'll ask you, Coachy, do you have a pair of spikes for me? Do you have a bat for me that I need? And you always pull through for your players, you know, when they need. So can you kind of just tell me something? Um, do you think as a coach, um, I know for a fact that you love your players. Sometimes I know you go deep into the players, not just at cricket, but deep into they they love for the game, the house situation. So I just have a question where I want to ask you. You always make it seem so easy, you know. So whenever one of your players goes through a tough time, how do you keep up with it? You know, because it's not just one player and it's not just 12 players. I mean, you have like 7, 8 teams, and you have to treat all of them with the same attitude, same mindset, same love. So I just want to know, how do you do all those?
So again, I'm gonna say it's very easy for me. It's natural for me. I've played cricket since the age of 4, if I can remember correctly. Mr. Sean Bloemekes will tell you the story where I was 8 years old, and my brother and I went to the principal, and we said, "Listen, we want to start cricket at Toekomsrus Primary." And they said, "Find somebody that can manage you guys because you guys understand the game, and then I'll make sure that you guys play in leagues and stuff." And then it was Mr. Sean Bloemekes that we got hold of. He was an intern teacher or something, very young at the time. And then Mr. Extian, if I remember correctly. But anyway, long story short, I'm 37 years old almost. In a few months, I'll be 37 years old. So I've been in the game, 32 years old, 3 years in the game. I've never owned my own pair of cricket spikes, ever. Up until today, while I'm sitting here, I've never owned a pair of cricket spikes. I've played national cricket weeks. I've played against the best players in the country, and I did well against them without owning a pair of cricket spikes. I went to a national cricket week with the bat without the grip, being the opening batsman. And that's the challenges I faced as a 12, 13-year-old boy. I went to the Clover. People my age and older will understand the Clover Top 10 athletics, running barefoot, 100 meters. And I ran at 16 years old, I ran a 10.6. My brother made a plan, I won't expose him now, to get me a pair of spikes. And then I'm a size 9 and he came there with a size 12. Just to make
Wow.
sure that I have spikes on that massive, national platform, if I can put it that way. So I've been through challenges. I've
Yeah.
been through my own challenges with my journey from the age of 8 years old when we started at Toekomsrus Primary. And I didn't have everything. I didn't have a lot. But what I did have was the support of my family. And I had God on my side because He gave me that talent, and that was the difference for me. And for me to help a youngster now, whether it's mentally, physically, um, to get him a pair of spikes now, I will make sure he gets it because I know what it takes not to have that, and that's it for me. That's, it's nice for someone to have everything, but when you don't have and you get something, you value it so much more,
Yeah.
and that just comes with, yeah, if you want something, you'll get it. You'll find a way to get it.
Look, Don, you say everything is easy. There's one thing I can't wrap my mind around is, when you mentioned, I recently got my car as well. So I remember your brother invited me to Toekomsrus, right? For an event. And I went out there from Morningside. I drove to Toekomsrus. And our work at the time that we shared, being in Morningside and knowing that you traveled from Toekomsrus, me driving there one time, I was like, when am I ever going to get there? How far is this place? It's just like in the middle of literally nowhere. Now, one thing I always,
Middle of amazing things, Reese.
yes, yes. One thing I always wanted to know is how did you do that? Driving back and forth from Toekomsrus daily, back and forth for 10 plus years.
Again, so as a youngster, I obviously got the contract at GCB because the coaches knew me because I was part of the system. So when I did my practical, I was lucky enough and blessed enough that I got the contract, a 3-month contract from GCB, and that was in 2000, way back in 2007. Long story short, 2009, 2009, if I'm right, yeah. A guy called me with the name of Sipiwe Kumalo. So he was the director of sport at Redel School where you are at the moment, and he said, "Listen, I heard good things about you. A colleague of mine, or a friend of mine actually, from JP High School, said you guys played against each other, and he was so impressed with the manner of how you treated your boys and the type of cricket they played and stuff." Long story short, I was standing. My grandfather was still alive. Was standing in the garden, and I got the phone call from Sipiwe, and Sipiwe said, "Listen, I'm from Redel School. Is it possible that you can come in for an interview? We really want you to start as soon as possible as head of cricket." And I said, "Listen, um, I don't think you're aware of where I live, where Toekomsrus is, compared to where Morningside is. Thank you for the offer, but I'm not interested. And the guy said, listen, think about it. I'll call you back in an hour. 15 minutes later, Sipiwe called me and said, listen, you can't come to us. We're going to come to you. Sipiwe Kumalo and Rasta Razvangu, I don't know how you pronounce his surname. He was an IRB referee. I think he lives in Australia now, if I'm right. He won World Rugby Ref of the Year a few times. The two of them drove to Randfontein and they met me at Randfontein Rugby Club in the bar there. So for me, just for them to do that, made up my mind that I'm going to take this chance. But saying that, it's for me a 2-3 hour drive from Toekomsrus to Sandton, sitting in traffic with the Golf 2 that my dad gave me, worrying about the clutch burning in the traffic and stuff, made you appreciate what you have. A township boy coming from Toekomsrus, talented, in different sports, and here you get an opportunity at a private school that is one of the best academic schools, not even in South Africa, but in the world, giving you this opportunity, and then they sacrificing all that for you. All you can do is give them back 100%. And that's the type of person I am. So that 2 hours, 3 hours in traffic, it was literally 5 hours a day because coming back as well meant absolutely nothing to me.
Yeah.
Because the sacrifices that they made for me, that 5 hours in traffic did absolutely nothing for me because it changed my own life and it changed my family's life, and then the boys that worked with me or I worked with, it changed their lives as well,
Yes.
so again, it's just a matter of sacrificing and appreciating what you that blessing, if I can put it that way, because for me it's a blessing.
Absolutely, yes. Firstly, I just want to say thank you to our audience for tuning in. We really appreciate you guys. I see some touching messages here. I don't want to display it, Keenan, because I just heard that it's a bit distracting. So I'm gonna go ahead and read this from Kulani Mabunda. He says, "This is very special and touching on my side, the memories we shared with Don." And then Karen Webb says, "So proud of you, Donnie."
Thank
Agrineth Machi says, "Coach Donnie with a heart there." And then Kulani says again, "Wow, this is very emotional on my side. We have shared lots of memories with Don, and I will cherish it for the rest of my life."
Let me, while you're on, sorry to get in there, but while you're on Kolani, I call him
Yes.
Rambo.
Yeah.
So my very first day at radio, they took me through the staff development and stuff. And, I wasn't keen for all that. I wanted to be on the field. So anyway, Sipiwe and Sheila Tinanga took me, and the boys were practicing. The first team boys were practicing. And there was a little jungle gym thingy right next to the cricket nets. And there was a guy or boy at back that time sitting on his laptop while the boys are practicing in the nets. So me being me, before they introduced me, I went to Kolani and I said, listen, are you not supposed to be practicing in the nets? And he said, how's it, coach? I'm one of the coaches. And that was my very first moment with Kolani. I'm like, okay, so start coaching. But I didn't know where to put my head because it's my first moment, my interaction with the players, with the coaches. And here I find Kolani sitting on a laptop, being Kolani. And the memories that we shared after that, the friendship that we built, and I mean, we're still in touch. He changed so many lives as well, from in Soweto, in Sandton, in Midrand where he was, an amazing, amazing guy. And that's why I call him Rambo. But that was my very first interaction with Kolani back in 2010.
Yes. Incredible guy. Yes, we still work together, and we started R&R Reds together as well. So I'm not going to speak too much on that. I just want the audience to know, please, in order for us to be successful going forward, um, with regards to this channel, please don't forget to click the like, share, and subscribe button on YouTube. Your subscription will mean a lot to us. It literally doesn't cost anything. I just want to keep reading a few comments and then we can get back to the questions. Shanley Webb says, too many more interviews and exposure. No one else deserves it more. Hands yellow, heart red. You should
Thank you,
know
Sam.
exactly who that's from. Sandman Sports says, Don the Don. Um, Storm Abrams says, amazing! Exclamation marks.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Sandman. He says he's loving the vibe. And I actually want to get to this comment here because this is another significant person in our lives. Eugene Peterson says, hats off to the three gentlemen on this groundbreaking podcast. Privileged to know them personally. Keep doing what you do, Don. Legendary, my bro.
Thanks, Ginas. Yeah, still a lot of work to do with me. Still gonna give him a lot of stress.
Yeah, look, let's get back to questioning. We're still at your professional journey. Don, I've seen you win so many trophies. Like it's actually ridiculous, right? For and this is exactly I still feel because you haven't quite got the recognition that I feel you deserve. It's not my place to give you recognition, but winning so many trophies year in year out, especially at provincial national weeks, IPTs as they call it. What do you think makes you so successful, both at you and I both know, radial school level versus provincial level. How do you do it? What's the secrets there?
There's no secret. It's hard work. Look, I'm gonna say it again. I'm blessed with the God given talent. I know how to work with players. Respect goes a long way, and I'm gonna go back to what my aunt and my mom taught me. It's you live by the truth.
Yes.
So before I meet the team, before I tell them this is your role and stuff, you need to be honest with the boys. You tell them the truth to say, listen, this is where we are. This is what we want to do. I've been with GCB since 2010, now called a CGL Central Gauteng Lions. I've lost one match. So that is, I don't know how many years is that, but I've lost one match in the regional or in the national weeks over the years. And it's just being true to yourself and being honest with the players. The boys are there for a reason, whether it's in a regional team or national team, provincial team, they're there because they're good enough. But if you're open and honest with them, they're going to give you 100%. Simple as that. If you're going to make empty promises to them, they're not going to give you 100% because they're going to question you as a coach. And that's where people see you as a coach and they call you coach, but it's a lot more than just being a coach.
Yes.
I sit next to the field and I know a lot more about those boys than people that live with them. Because I'm honest with them and I'm I'm open to them. They can express how they feel. Because I feel cricket is 80% mental and 20% skills wise, especially if you're at that level. Obviously, a lower level is different. The skills wise is more important first before the mindset comes. But at the highest level, it's more about preparing the boys mentally or the men mentally, and again, I can just thank God that I got that blessing or a gift, if I can put it that way, that I know how to interact with players and when to say what and how to approach the situation. It's something that I can't explain, which I'm just thankful for that. That hopefully for the next 10 years I still have that.
Yeah.
So
Oh, absolutely. We wish you, absolutely, especially me. I wish you nothing but the best. I see you climbing the ladder even higher. And I want to read this comment from Werner. I think it's Durham.
now there I am. He's gonna be
Durham.
very upset with me. There I am.
Sorry, Werner.
He's my bonus first team captain.
Yeah. Werner Durheim says, the coach Don himself, the best coach ever. I will always be grateful to be his captain.
Special.
Like
Thank you,
for
guys.
me, hearing Werner say this is, I want to ask, do you think you have any number in your mind of people like Werner? How many students like this do you think you've impacted in your life?
I'm not gonna answer that. I've been coaching for 17 years. I
Yes.
coach about 9 different teams a year. So if you do your calculations, I'm probably in contact with 95% of all those guys. Still, even from the first ones that I started 17 years ago, I'm still in contact with them. So you can do the numbers.
Yeah, look, that's crazy numbers. Me being understanding my job and how many kids I work with. Yeah, that's ridiculous numbers. Don, sorry, did you want to say something?
No. It's just if you look back at where I started, I was 18, 19 years old when I started coaching. And I mean, like I said, I'm turning 37 soon. Most of the guys that I started when I started coaching are married now. You know, they have kids. Some of them are professional cricketers. Some of them are abroad, living in the UK, Ireland. Playing professional cricket, national cricket. But it's that moments that you shared with them when everyone else was focused on something else. That is what makes you have that relationship with them 18 years or 17 or 16 years later.
Yeah.
Because you don't understand the impact that you have over kids. Because we have, as educators and coaches, some of us sometimes lose focus on how important we are as very crucial moments. And for young coaches out there, for senior coaches out there, don't ever forget how important you are in what you say and when you say to a cricketer or a student or just someone that you mentor. It's very, very important. And yeah, that's why I don't sleep at night, because you must make sure that every single player is taken care of. Because if you go to war and one of your soldiers are down, it makes the team weaker. But if everyone is on the same page and someone is looking after that soldier to make sure that he's taken care of, it makes the team stronger, because then you can move forward. But if you leave one behind, one man down, it makes the team weaker.
Yeah.
You don't realize that until you have less numbers. Then you're like, "Oh, maybe we should have looked after that person." But that
100%.
same person looks after you as well. And that's why I still have the same passion. When I started in that 10 minutes, when I went to Toekomstlus Primary, 17 years later, I still have the same passion, if not more now, than what I had back then.
Absolutely. Keenan, do you have any comments or questions at this stage?
On my side, I have one question that they have here. I don't know who's this from, is anonymous. Don, the challenges that you overcome being a coach, is it challenging? And is it also challenging for you to be a father at the same point, because you work with kids and being a father to your own daughter also? Is it challenging for you? And what is the key points that you can give a person or motivate a person to keep pushing?
It's very challenging, but I don't see it as a challenge. I see it as part of my life journey. I see it as part of my journey. So I don't even look at it as a challenge. I'm blessed to have, again, a daughter that has the same ambition that I have. I think she's a bit worse than me. If she sees us netball, cricket ball, volleyball, whatever ball, she's blessed that with the talents that I had, I think she's going to be a little better than me. So it makes it easier for me. Um, so having that balance between fatherhood and being a coach and being there for my players and being there for Chloe, um, I don't see a challenge because she will tell me, Daddy, one of the boys are looking down. He said, please go talk to him, or please go buy him food. He looks hungry, or please buy him a bat. His bat doesn't look in the greatest shape. That's the type of person she is.
Yeah.
He'll tell me to say, listen, Dad, why is he sitting alone? Please, let's go sit with him. Let's go sit. Tell him to come sit with us. So I don't see it as a challenge. I see it as a blessing. Um, it's difficult. It's difficult because I have to put her first. I have to be a dad first. But God bless me with a wonderful daughter that understands my lifestyle. The poor child, the mom was pregnant and she was next to a field. She was 1 month old and she was next to a field. And her life it's not me, pushing it and forcing her, but that's her life. And I'm fortunate and blessed enough, that I have a daughter that loves what I do and she loves it as well, if not more. I think she
Yeah.
loves it more than I do. So yeah, it's not a challenge at all. It's not a challenge at all.
No, look, I think that's amazing because I think our lives as coaches is always to make sure that the next generation does well, right? And
Yeah.
and to have a daughter that naturally takes, feeds off your energy and also want to aspire to be great in the way you are, is beyond like, what we do on a daily basis. I think you've given a lot of advice. That was going to be my next point, for aspiring coaches or professionals. Um, you obviously mentioned, the mentors in your life being your mom, your aunt, your dad, your granddad, and I would assume your brother to some extent as well.
Yeah, he was my boxing buddy. He used to box with a cushion, so he has a very vital role to play. Yeah, he knocked me out of one.
Yeah, look, brotherly love. There's nothing like that.
And he
You
bowled
obviously, I know,
40 k's an hour in the yard, so it was quick. So he
yeah,
made me,
yeah.
he made me tough.
Mitch Johnson there in the back. Yeah, that's you can't ask for better than that.
Yes, I
Um,
think big
I
character.
know you mentioned Mr. Extian. You mentioned Sean Blomikis. Is there anyone that we are leaving out in that regard?
Sure. Look, I think lots of people, players, uh, can obviously will back me on this one. Where life is a journey, and you're gonna meet different people along the way. It's not gonna be the same people every year, every season. So, mentioning names is a bit tough. Especially as a sportsman during your journey, because there's so many people that has a big impact in your life.
Yeah,
And like a Sipiwe and a Rasta, for example, that Rasta, we played against Sheppy with my boys from Tukumsrus, and we we smashed them, you know. But he didn't take it that way, you know. He came to me and said, "Listen, you have all this talent. Are you looking for a better job?" And I'm like, "No, I'm happy with what I have." But he said, "Give me your number." This is a random guy, you know. So leaving out people during your journey is a bit unfair,
yeah,
So I don't like calling out names to say, this person made a difference and this person made a difference. I mean, there's so many people now that that's in my life. I mean, the people that supporting me in Monas, brought me to a completely different mindset now. So yeah, it's I can just on this platform say thank you for everyone, that supported me through tough times, because there was very difficult times in my life. Lots of times that I wanted to give up. But the people, and that's why I say I don't want to mention names, but they know themselves. They are the people that made me keep believing, and it just carried on with my journey, you know.
Yeah, on that
So
note, sorry, yes.
no, carry on. Sorry.
On that note, Shanley Webb says, exemplar of someone who has immeasurable initiative and contagious positive energy. You're an inspiration and an aspiration to someone in a completely different field. Work ethic like no one other. Like none other. Excuse me.
Thanks, Shane. That's very nice words coming from you. So Shane helped me with my assignments a lot.
Oh, back in varsity or high school.
At home, varsity, I still call her for advice. So yeah. So
Nice.
look, what Shane is saying, you know, and I'm gonna come back as your journey, your life journey, and it's so important. You get through a journey, you get your challenges, but if you're not positive about your challenge, if you challenged by something, if you don't have a cricket ball, coming to a cricket match and you don't have a cricket ball, are you going to make it an issue and cancel the game? Or are you going to make a plan and play with the older ball? Because the purpose of the game is to play the game. It's not with what you play in the game. It's nice to have
Yeah.
these fancy balls and a brand new ball, and maybe some people won't understand this example, but you make something work with
Something
what
out
you
of
have.
nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's
Look,
life. What's the purpose of life is to love it. You need to love it.
yeah.
So make it work instead of looking for excuses and stuff. You know, find a way. Find a way. Find a way. If you're going through a difficult journey as a cricketer, find a way to get out of it. Don't look for excuses and want to give up. Find a way. And people in the corporate even, you know, um, there's lots of challenges there for them as well. But find a way to move on. Simple
Yeah,
as
I
that.
think that's a great point you make there because I will never forget one year we were hosting the under 12 regional weeks at school at Overland at Outspan. And I think that was the first time you ever let me do something without you being present. And I remember it was early in the morning calling you saying, listen, Don, I don't know where the bales are, and you were like, listen, bud, find a find a way, make a
Simple.
plan, you
Yeah.
know, and and I guess what that taught me was to know everything about everything. Like there's nothing, I don't think there's a place at school that you can tell me that I don't know. Like if you say I need a rugby ball, I know exactly where the rugby balls are. If you say I need to find the staff room, I know where the staff room is. I know that there's even an underground storeroom
Very
somewhere.
nice. It's a
You
very
know?
nice. A few of them.
Yeah. Yeah, look, philosophy on success. What I think for me, I would like to know what is your coaching philosophy?
God first, God first, and then discipline. If you don't have discipline, if you don't believe in something, so that's where God comes in. If you don't believe in something, you're not going to achieve anything. If you don't have any discipline, you're not going to achieve anything. If you're not willing to sacrifice certain things, you're not going to achieve anything. So it comes back to believing in yourself, believing in your talent that you have, the skills that you have. And yeah, it comes down to that. If you believe in yourself, if you believe that you're talented enough, disciplined enough, and you're willing to make those big sacrifices, you can achieve anything in life. Anything. I've come from I've come from sleeping next to my grandfather until the age of I can't expose myself. To sleeping on the couch for many years, until I got my own bed. To living in Morningside in a 3-bedroom house with a double garage and a pool and everything. So I've come from nothing to a lot,
Something.
but it sacrifices in discipline and believing that you can achieve whatever. You know, me sleeping on that couch for so many years, I could have said, I'm gonna go in the streets, use drugs. What's the point of living? But God opened doors for me because I believed. And He gave me a 3-bedroom house in Fenton, and I paid next to nothing for it. You know, so yeah, it's just believing and trusting the process. Kurt Iman, big mentor of mine. We always talk about trusting the process, and not many people understand it. But you need to start somewhere to get somewhere. But lots of people want to get there and forgetting about the journey. You have to go through that journey first in order to love that comfortable life, if I can put it that way.
I just want to go and say Darshan Naidu says, brilliant coach, reads the game very well. And then
Thanks, Darshan.
Kubeshni Naidu says, Donavan changed both my boys' lives. Liam and Cyan Subban have experienced his coaching, blessed to know him.
Thank you. They have a bright future, so I better get some VIP tickets when they make it there.
And then Kevin Lawrence says, Donny, you are a living testimony of living your passion, translates to not working a day in your life. Your honesty and good heart will continue to drive your success. You're only handsome, cuz.
Thank you. Thanks, Kev. I appreciate it.
Okay, look, my plan, it's all working out nicely so far. My plan was to not keep us too long. We're coming up close to an hour, and also we're coming up close to the end of our questionnaire as well. Um, Keenan, do you have anything you want to add there?
Um, the life balance tips and the coach's well-being. I know, me personally, I know that you a very hardworking person that doesn't take nonsense. I came through that a lot because I work under you. So I just want to know, how do you balance that out, your life balance tips, and you as a coach? I know for a coach to be mental fit, because for a coach, his well-being is also important. So how do you balance that out?
It comes down to self-discipline. I suffer a lot from anxiety. Lots of people know that because I want to do 10 things in in 1 minute.
Seconds. Yeah,
Sec-
no, seconds.
um, it comes down to self-discipline. Um, if you're disciplined enough to balance everything out in life, you will make sure it happens. So whether it's family life, I know my family fights with me a lot because they don't see me as often as they used to. But when I do get the chance, when I am free, I make sure that I make time for them. Um, you can't get around everyone because the families are quite big. But I believe whether you see someone for 1 minute or whether you see someone for 5 days or a whole year, that time that you spend with that person is so important. And I preach a lot, especially to you guys, as young coaches coming up, because sometimes we forget how important time is. and fly. We only live once, and you only have one opportunity in this thing called life. And if you have time to mess around and you know fool around, and you forget about what your purpose is, you're losing valuable time. There's so many people passing away, during your journey through life. So that time that you spend with them, make sure you make it worth it. You know, um, it's appreciating that moment with every single person, and that's why I feel like whether it's a 6-year-old boy that can't bowl properly, or whether it's a professional cricketer that's going to the World Cup or just play the World Cup, that time that you spend with that person is so important, because you don't ever know will you ever have that time again with him. So I'm gonna give you 100%. I think sometimes I'm too much for people, but that's how I live my life. I make sure that every moment I live for the moment and for as best as possible. You know, that's me.
Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
Don, do you have any, like I said before, for me, I see you, because you're coaching provincial school level, so to speak. For me, I see your first big milestone being like SA under 19. Do you have any future goals and ambitions?
I do. I do. So I'm very goal orientated. I'm obviously now director of cricket in Monash, so that was a big step for me, moving to a sporting school that were, you know, very competitive. So I'm absolutely loving it. I'm obviously still with the provincial teams at the Lions and stuff. I started last season at the Alphas coaching the Premier League A team as well as a head coach there, where I think, if I'm right, there's 9 or 10 professional cricketers in that team that's professionally signed at provinces and stuff. So I'm heading there. My goal is obviously to coach the coach team, the Lions under 19 A team. I
Nice.
know I'll win the National League uh, if they give me the opportunity. And then after that, hopefully get the SA under 19 team. I gave myself 10 years from now, from this day on, 10 years to get to the Proteas. I believe and I know, I'm not being arrogant to anything, but I know I can win a World Cup for South Africa as a coach.
Absolutely.
So I'm giving myself 10 years to get there. I think I'm still a bit young for that. I still have a lot to learn, especially at a higher level, because you you're working with grown men, and I still have to experience all that and learn all about that. But I think in 10 years' time, I'll bring the World Cup home for South Africa if I get the opportunity. Simple.
Yeah, look, I think I back you 100% on that one. Before we go to our closing questions, I just want to finish the comments. Um, Mad Dog Ranger says, the best coach I have ever had. Sean Naidu says, Mr. Kroet is changing the world one cricketer at a time. What a privilege it was to have him work with my child. We do miss you, Don.
Thanks, Sean. Miss you too.
And
I hope
then
he's,
Gary, sorry, say again.
I hope he's still playing cricket.
I'm not gonna speak on that now, but Tesh is amazing as always.
That's good.
Um,
Good.
Gary Paulson says, so proud of you, Mr. Don.
Thanks, Gary.
And then Sean Naidu again says, Reese Daniels is an inspirational coach himself, brilliant and beautiful mind. All the best with this podcast. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you, Mrs. Naidu. Yeah, it's such a privilege to know you. I feel like you're my mom at work. Always blessing us with phenomenal cakes on our birthdays, tailor
Miss,
made for.
I
You
miss you.
know, I don't think I've missed so far a year where she hasn't baked me a cake. So, Mrs. Naidu, as I said to you, off the record, I said I want to be able to advertise her business on this platform because she is an amazing cook, baker. I have some of her plants in my house, entrepreneur, teacher, mentor. She's just, such a special person to have known, privileged to have been at her 50th birthday. Um, Fiona Hammond says, we are also proud of you. Uncle Percy is smiling down at you with so much pride.
Thank you. That means a lot.
Shanley Webb says, I hope you know Opa. Opa would have given you all the lemon creams and eat some more. You used to stash away, but he sends them through blessings from above. See you, Don.
I had them yesterday, so thank you. I had lots of lemon.
Let's see. I just want to acknowledge everyone, just in closing. Anonymous says, Coach Don, how can we get Boomba to score runs?
Simple mindset, get fit. He knows he's a boomer, so he needs to get fit. So he's mentally strong because he has the talent to do it. He must just change his mindset. I know exactly where.
Right?
No, I can't expose him. I can't expose him. It's fine.
Okay. Sharp. Wonderful interview. Thank you so much, Sipe Sishle Nkabini.
Thanks, man.
Taylor Wood says, we're so proud of you, Don. And someone you spoke to earlier, Patrick Ross Allen says, well done with this. Dankie, Coachy. Yes, next, Joe.
I learned from the best.
Last one, Don. Man United or Real Madrid?
Real Madrid.
That's from Eugene Peterson.
Real Madrid. 100%.
And then Mel N says, amazing stuff, legends. Thank you so much, Mel.
Thank you.
Don?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Dankie, Jermaine Kroet says, great stuff, gents. Really appreciate you helping us with testing earlier as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Don, memorable quote to live by.
Never give up. Simple
Never
as that.
give up.
Never give up. Never give up.
Thank you. That's very profound.
Yeah.
And then a friend of ours, always speaks on this question. What do you want to be remembered as?
Me. Good dad. Great family person, member. A great colleague to work with. And just making a difference in the household. Because I know one household will change a family. That family will change a community. And it will just broaden up, because where our communities are now, we all know that we're in a difficult space, especially our colored communities. But if you can make a difference in one household, it will change that whole family, and that family will change the community. And that community will change the city, and our country will get better, and the world can get better, because there's a lot of challenges out here. So, like Sean said earlier, it's one cricketer at a time. But that one cricketer as a family, and that family as a community, and that's how I see life. And that's why it's so important, like I said earlier, if you have time with that person, whether it's 10 seconds, 1 minute, 10 minutes, make sure you make it worth it, because you don't know what difference you make for that person.
Yeah, look, that's beautiful. What I'm most proud of is that the words you just spoke, I can go and revisit them. Before we go, I just want to remind our audience, please don't forget to click the subscribe button. That will help us going forward. We're en route to 1,000 subscribers. That's our first milestone. And then before I give you some comments there, Keenan, I wanna ask Don if you had to choose a favorite sports person of all time, who would that be?
No.
Cristiano Ronaldo.
Cristiano Ronaldo. Salute. Thanks for that one.
I think we all know why.
Yeah, very, very similar.
Before we go, just
Yeah.
ask him what do his players call him? Why do they call him the Don? He'll tell you why.
Why do they call you the Don?
It's my name, Don.
Carlo Ancelotti, maybe?
Carlo Ancelotti. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a big
Is that-
Carlo Ancelotti fan. So his
Yeah,
name is Don Carlo Ancelotti.
Yes, absolutely. I figured that should be the one.
So my role
And
model.
then, nice. And then just in closing, I had no idea Pepe's name was Sipe Sisle Nkabini because he wrote in the comments, Reese, it's Pepe. Anyway, thanks,
You
gents.
guys have been working together for years. You should know that.
Pepe, sorry, brother. Listen, he sent me a message earlier. He has a new phone. He sends me a message. Guess what's his name?
What? Pop.
Pepe.
Oh, I thought he was going to say Pop. Listen, just on that before in closing, this is a perfect platform for us, especially from obviously you guys know a little bit of my journey now, and how it started and where it is now. I'm in a good space and stuff, but just for our people here, and hopefully it will make a difference, like I said, to one person or two people or two families. We're in a very difficult time in this world and in our communities, especially in our communities here around us. And if there's any people that can help, make a difference in a boy's life, please let me know. There's a lot of boys that's struggling mentally, physically, that doesn't have any equipment, food at home, all that stuff. So if there's any people or person or businesses or anything that can help, please let me know. Our communities are struggling out here. We don't have facilities. There's some people that live on the street that I grew up with, that we can make a difference. So if you guys can, please message me privately. Let's make a difference. I know it's a nice platform to share my journey, but there's a lot of other people with a tough journey, and their present and their current situation is very, very tough. So if you guys know of people that can make a difference, please reach out to me so we can make a difference in this life and in our communities, in our country. Let's make a difference. Let's use this platform as a positive thing, and not just about cricket. I see cricket as life because it's choices that you have to make. When you hold the bat, when you hold the ball, when you have to catch the ball. So let's make those choices now because our communities are struggling out here. Kids are dying out here and killing each other. So let's try to stand together and make a big difference. And turn those negative things or challenges into positive stories. That we can have more conversations like this. That's positive. Please, please, please.
Absolutely. Thanks for those final comments there. Keenan, do you have any closing comments?
No.
Don, from my side, to all the viewers or from all the viewers, I think most of us here, know you and appreciate you. I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you for everything you've done for us. Thank you for those people's lives you've impacted over the years. And yeah, long may this platform be there even beyond us, in time to come. As you say, let's grow the platform for a positive, way forward. And I hope the sponsors watching tonight, that, after, this conversation, that you would be interested to come on board and assist us and make our dreams come true, which is ultimately to help our communities. As Don says, you impact one person, it impacts a family, and it impacts a community, and then it impacts the country, and then it impacts the world. So thanks again, Don, for taking time to share your journey with us. And I'm just really grateful that you can get this on record, and it'll always be there for everyone to see. So to all our viewers who tuned in tonight, thank you so much. We really appreciate you. Don't forget to click the subscribe button, and we look forward to, sharing many, many more stories. There's exciting, interviews coming up. We have one on Friday. We'll advertise that. Ex Bafana futsal captain will be live on Friday. I'm not going to share too much, so you have to tune in. And yeah, thank you so much, Keenan. Thank you so much, viewers. Don, appreciate you. Salute.
Thank you for everyone, and be safe. See you guys there. Thanks, Richie.
Cheers.
Thank you.
See you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Cheers.